process of writing their fourth children's book. And I'm excited about it because he is not just a family to TA Prep, but he also drew his inspiration from his son, who is also a student at TA Prep. So just to give you a little background of the books and who Mr. Glenn is, currently Mr. Glenn is the director of the DC Black Theater and Arts Festival, and he supports anything in that craft. If you are in the arts field, he supports. And the big thing that I love is his plan is not just to write books, but to create books that reflect children of color and those who are reluctant to reading. And he's striving to get them excited about reading. And I'm so excited that he's going to have a little interview with us today, and he's going to talk to us about his book. So I'm going to spotlight, thank you, Mr. Glenn, and also his son. We call him KB, but Gabriel Kennard Brown. He's going to join us as well. So how are you doing today, Mr. Glenn?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Mr. Dale. Thank you for having me. I love your shirt.
Thank you. Thank you. I can send you the link. One of my friends promotes this. This is his brand. How are you doing, KB?
I'm doing good too.
Because I know it's a little early.
Yeah.
So I always start this out with kind of like an icebreaker kind of question. But thinking back, and KB, you can answer too, we all started our reading journey through children's books. So what was that one children's book that you truly, truly loved?
It was called The Little Train That Could. That's one of them.
Okay.
And Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
That's a good series. That is a good
series. For me, every morning my mother would have worship with my sister and I. And so my favorite books became my first picture book, which is the Bible story, Arthur Maxwell's stories. And it is still to this day one of my favorite books.
Yes, that is good. And KB, mine was that too. And then the Caterpillar book, where it talks about the journey of the caterpillar over time. When I taught kindergarten, I love that book as well, just to trace the caterpillar and do the activities with it. So that was kind of one of my favorites. So getting into this lovely book that you recently put out, I have my copy, and like I said, I'm going to meet up with you socially distanced so I can get my copies signed. But I've read this book, and I just want to talk to you. What is your inspiration? What drew you to write this?
I think the first thing that drew me to the book, or to write the book for inspiration, was that my wife and I were trying to find books for Gabriel, and it was very difficult to find books with boys of color. And so Toni Morrison has a quote that says, if you can't find a book that you want, then write it. So I sat down with Gabriel and we went over all the stories, the skating stories, the bicycle stories, then stories of my childhood, and we put it together, and I took notes of all the stories and then started to write them down.
Good. And for those listening, when he's saying books of color, he's talking about people who, Black people, Asian people, Latinos, Hispanics, anyone of that color diaspora, or that we call them sometimes, or call us, minority groups. But that is what his inspiration is, people of color, which is very good. The teaching staff know that I'm very big on allowing students to see themselves in the book.
Yes.
I believe that sparks motivation to read, especially when they can see themselves on the cover. Because if you can look at this, it kind of looks like KB. But yeah, they can read, and they want to love to read because they can see themselves in the book. So we know with writing, it's always this challenge, and I, have this push and pull with my kids to love writing. Talk about that writing process. How did that go? Because to be honest, it's not easy to write a children's book.
No, it really isn't. So I spent about a year just in preparation to write. And that year included the research, the process of what it means to write, a children's book is limited by words, so you want to do less than 500 words, and that sometimes is challenging to get a full thought out when you're used to writing novels and thousands of words. Matter of fact, the last project I wrote was 20,000 words, and so to do this and to do it down to 500 words is a little bit challenging. So we spent about a year in the process of building it. But the whole thing is to write, to read, and then have other people really look over the writing. And so we built a really good team of consultants that then we would send the story out. Gabriel would tell me the story, I would write it, and then we send it out to teachers and people in the educational field to see if we were on the mark, if there was something that we're missing. In this particular case, this book is written with sight words. And so the entire series is based in sight words, and then there are new introductory words that we had. So we wrote it very purposely. So not just in positive imagery, but also in language so that it would be an easier read.
Good. I love it. KB, talk to me. What's your favorite thing about the books? I know I just have one right now and you're working on the fourth one. But talk to me about your favorite moments in the writing process or even helping your dad with this project.
My favorite moments were like when he was writing it and he would like mess up, I would have to correct him. And that would make me feel good because he always corrects me.
I love it.
And that he included my real friends in real life.
That's good. So the names in here, which I don't want to jack up, but I did see some names in here. Those are your friends that you actually have.
Yeah, like Israel, you'll see
Okay.
him in the book. He's my actual first friend from childhood, and I still hang out with him till this day.
Good. So we want to get into the book. Just give us a little taste of the book, and read it to us.
Okay. So the book is called The Adventures of Gabe the Mighty, the kid with the extraordinary super duper superpowers. Today's superpower is imagination. Imagination is like dreaming while awake. Hi, my name is Gabriel, but my friends call me Gabe the Mighty. Well, I added the mighty part because deep down inside, I'm a superhero. I know I look like a normal kid, but if you look closely, you just might see that I have superpowers. And not just any superpowers, extraordinary super duper superpowers. I can jump really high and almost fly. I can run really, really fast. And I'm really, really, really strong. My mommy says it's just my overreactive imagination. But she doesn't know when I pin my G-Shield to my shirt and put on my super cape, ta-da! I become Gabe the Mighty. If you don't believe that I have superpowers, ask my best friend and trusted sidekick, Israel.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about the series. I'm excited that you're writing, that you're the inspiration, and Dad, I truly appreciate this. It has inspired me to think about writing children's books. I am an avid writer. I have journals here with poems and short stories in them. So it's pushed me to write, and I hope it has also pushed other students to even become writers. And if we can end on this one thing, what is one thing you can say to our future writers, our future authors, to push them into writing a book?
I would say what my mother told me, which is read, write, rewrite, and read. So those four things: read, write, rewrite, and read.
Yep, and I think we stop at the write and don't go back to the rewrite and read.
Exactly.
Lose that track. But again, thank you so much. And I want to say this to all the kids. I hope you were listening closely. Each and every day we're going to have a trivia. So tomorrow we're going to think of some questions and we're going to give out some prizes on what we've talked about today with KB and Mr. Glenn about this lovely book. And then I also have a very, very nice surprise for you at the end of the week. All right. So tune in every day, so that you can listen to the different authors that we have to share. And I truly appreciate you hopping on to Chapel today and listening for this great book. All right. Now, we're going to
Thank you, Mr. Daly.
You are so welcome. Thank you. All right. Are there any announcements?